Hi, my name's Mike Walmsley. I'm a freelance web developer based in Blackburn, Lancashire, and I have spent the day at Internet World 2011. The show was extremely well attended, and the downside to this was to get into many of the talks you had to queue for a considerable time. But I would say that all the talks were valuable, that I took something away from everyone, and therefore tomorrow I certainly won't be grumbling about the queuing. I'll tell you a little bit about the talks I did attend. I started off with one given by a gentleman whose name I shall undoubtedly slaughter. His name was Siddharth Junjunwala, and he works for the company Web Spiders. He was talking about how you can be unsocial on the web and actually build that into your social media campaign. When he talks about being unsocial, he's not simply saying that what you need to do is to be rude to people or tell them where to get off. What he's actually talking about is really don't chase your tail trying to collect friends and followers. That in reality what you need are useful friends and followers and not simply high numbers. And he gave a really good example of a lady who had been tweeting recipes in 140 characters or less, and that up until the point where she had 10,000 followers, lots of people contacted her, told her what they thought about the recipes, how they'd gone on with them, etc. But the minute that she reached 10,000, all that interaction stopped. And it kind of goes along with something that I do believe happens an awful lot on Twitter. Many companies still don't understand that social media is about a two-way conversation and not just simply broadcasting. And one of the things I've started doing is if I follow somebody and I start asking them questions but I don't get responses back, I stop following them. I don't care how good their tweets are, if they're not prepared to engage with me, I'm not interested in them because they're obviously not interested in me. After that I went to a talk from Just Search, and they were talking about how you can integrate social media into your business for free, which means that you don't have to pay a company like them or an individual like me to actually do this for you. They talked about things like how to go about doing keyword analysis to identify the sort of target areas that you can go after on the web. They also talked about a couple of tools that you can use. One for sentiment analysis from Social Mention, and you can find that at socialmention.com, all one word. Sentiment analysis, in case you are not aware of this, is where you do a search for a keyword or phrase across the entire web. So you're looking at things like mentions on blogs, in tweets, on Facebook. And what sentiment analysis does is that it collates all these examples of where your keyword has been used, and it works out whether people have been talking about your sort of product or brand in a positive or negative way. And that's really just what sentiment analysis is. They also talked about using double-click ad planner from Google to help identify where your target audience is. So again, you input your keyword or phrase into double-click ad planner, and what it does a quick look through the web at all the sites that Google has indexed and works out where you would be best sort of positioned to actually place your ads. So that was a good talk as well. In the afternoon, the first talk I went to was Emerging Trends in Digital Marketing, and this was given by Dave Edmondson Bird. This was the most entertaining talk of the day. Not saying that it was necessarily more valuable than any of the others, but simply Dave Edmondson Bird is a lecturer at Manchester Metropolitan University. Consequently, he's used to standing in front of a crowd and giving a talk, and he knows how to make it as positive as possible and get as much interaction with the crowd as possible. He made an awful lot of sense. One of the things that he talked about was the way that companies need to think more about integrating their design and search and social strategies. So if you're getting a website built, even if you're going to use a different company for each of those three facets of it, don't get your site built and then get your search engine people in, because they will undoubtedly say that there are changes that need to be made. which then have to go back to the design team, and then you get your social guys who come in and they say, oh right, well we need to add a Facebook like button, and we also need to include a blog, and again there are more revisions that are needed to the website, and it makes more sense to get these people all together in one room at the same time so they can agree a coordinated strategy, and you know that what's going on will definitely work. So yeah, I found that very interesting. He also made a few other good points towards the end of his show, and that was that every year will be the year of mobile. There's always something new and exciting in the mobile sphere. Something will come along that will replace Twitter, and I also have to tell you, something will eventually replace Facebook, so please don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Keep your sort of ear to the floor to be aware of upcoming changes. Tablets will replace laptops. Couldn't agree more with that statement. I've felt for years that most people have a laptop, use it for pottering about on the web and sending a few emails, and as a result they make no real use of the machine's capabilities, and a tablet can do all of those things for you quite comfortably. And finally, that neuroscience will become important in the way we understand customer behaviour on the web. So if you're watching this and you're still at school and thinking about doing a degree, my recommendation would be do something in computer science, but make sure you can take some psychology modules as well. The next talk I went to was given by Web Credible, and this was on how to make your site more mobile friendly. They talked about more than just using a browser detection script when visitors first come onto your site, to make sure that if it's a mobile device that your content is displayed in a very narrow column down the centre of the screen. They talked about things like how mobile devices aren't particularly good for data input, so don't put long complicated forms that are going to involve a lot of typing, because all you're going to do is really upset your users and make them disinclined to come back and visit your site again. And the final talk that I went to was given by Andy Henshaw. I was only actually at this talk because the talk I wanted to get to on email marketing started early, and I'd just like to say to the gentleman who started that talk early, thank you, because Andy's talk was superb. He's the CEO of a company called V24, and he was talking about providing live video chat on websites, and particularly within e-commerce sites. And the idea is this, that when people go to a website to buy, between 2 and 3% of them actually complete a purchase, whereas in a shop that number is between 15 to 20%. So the inference being that losing that kind of personal contact means that you lose sales, and this really does sort of pan out, because if you think about it, if you go into a shop, you can ask them questions, they can sort of sell things to you, they can sell you the benefits of a product, and maybe if you're just wavering a little bit, they can sort of tip you over to go from a browser into a buyer. The technology that Andy's company provide enable companies to have a live video chat on their site, and the advisor can actually take you, the user, from one page to another within your own browser. And I thought that was absolutely superb, because by doing that, you as the shop owner have then got more control over that sort of purchasing process. So yeah, that was fantastic, and it was a real revelation. I've done a sort of blog entry on this, and I've covered that in a little bit more detail. A couple of other quick mentions though while I am here. I thought I'd talk a little bit about BoxPay. I was talking with Kyle from BoxPay, and what they do, they give companies the ability to charge for goods using people's mobiles, and in light of recent revelations from Sony and people's general issues around parting with personal details, including credit card details, over the internet, the idea of being able to pay for something using your mobile does seem increasingly a positive thing for people to do. The way it works is that it's done by a text message, so you sort of agree via your phone, you send a message off and the message gets sent back and you get billed up to a maximum of £10 for that message. At the moment the maximum purchase is £10, but they are looking to increase that over time, and I think that that will be something that really takes off in years to come. And finally, I also spoke to a Digital group. They provided a range of services, but the one I was most interested in was the email platform. I've got a number of clients at the moment who are looking to send out regular newsletters, and they will be able to provide a facility for people to be able to do this. However, that's not the only reason I thought I'd mention them. They also gave me this rather snazzy t-shirt. Yes, it is pink, and yes, it does have the word hard bouncers on it. Will I be wearing it? Probably not, but I've got a couple of friends who I think if they see it will definitely be trying to confiscate it for their wardrobe. Anyway, there's still lots more to see and do, and tomorrow is day 2, and I will be back then to give you another update. Thanks for listening.